got to let it go. You got to let. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to film this simple kind of glam, I don't even know what to call it. It'll be in the title, but I wanted to film a get ready with me, also talking about my experience with cancer, not going into too much details, but also not talking about a lot because I only have like an hour to film this. I'm actually running late and I have to leave in 5 minutes, and I'm trying to film this intro. So if you like to see how I got this beautiful makeup look, then keep on watching. Alright, so back, I've already primed my face with the e.l.f. Poreless face primer. I've moisturized my lips with the Rosebud Salve lip balm, and I've already moisturized my face with the Aveeno moisturizer and a Neutrogena eye cream, which I'll do a whole skincare routine so you can see the process, but for the most part all that is done. So I'm going to start with my eyes. So last year, back in 2017, on September 1st, I had a beautiful baby girl named Nova Lynn Yvette, and for the most part my labor and delivery was okay. We had some complications, but that wasn't, contributing to the whole cancer thing. So when I was there, I was getting these really bad pains, and just having a C-section, everyone thought it was just normal and it would go away within the normal 6 weeks and I'll be able to return back to work. Wrong. So after a month, the pain just was not getting any better, and so I was constantly back and forth in the emergency room because I was in so much pain, to the point that I couldn't even breathe correctly. I was getting sharp pains throughout my body, and I would literally just stick Nova on my boob and sit there and just deal with the pain. Looking at this palette, it's an ultimate Blockbuster palette. It was gifted to me for Christmas, and then I would just wait for the pain just to go away and finally feel good again. And I would wait until my mom got off work and she would take me to the emergency room, and she would stay there until they sent me home, and then I would do that all over again. I'm looking at a different palette, another gift. It is the iPad 35 eyeshadow book. So I would go to the emergency room. They would pretty much just send me home with medication, not really do anything. So that was kind of a waste, and I did that for about 2 weeks until I decided to change which emergency room I was going to. And with that, I ended up seeing, I believe it's called a hematologist, because I saw a rheumatologist as well, but that was later, probably about a week later. I saw a hematologist who basically told me I didn't have cancer. That was one crazy bad step. Then he recommended for me to go to see the rheumatologist, and correct me if I'm wrong, one is a cancer doctor, and one is like, he deals with like wanting to know if you have lupus or fibromyalgia or things like that, like inside body pain. So with going to the rheumatologist now, he was testing me for lupus and fibromyalgia and some other crazy things, and they were all coming back negative. So he was wanting to just stick it on fibromyalgia, which I learned later that if a doctor can't pronounce what's going on with someone, that's the one they kind of just stick it to. Then I I was still going back and forth to the emergency room and still didn't know what was wrong with me. But one day, my stomach started to get increasingly big, and it looked like I was pregnant all over again. Which I wasn't doing anything, because I was still in the 6-week mark of still healing. So, or I think I just got out of the 6-week mark, my bad. So, they made me still take a pregnancy test, even though I told them I can't be pregnant. I just had a baby 6 weeks ago. I mean, I think at the time it was like 8 weeks ago. I'm like, haven't been doing anything. I'm not pregnant. It was like, well, we just want to go ahead and just roll it out. Whatever. I'll do it. And I was in pain, and I just wanted to get everything over with. So then I did that, and I remember my in-laws coming to get my daughter, taking her because I didn't want her to be in the doctor's office, and plus they were going to admit me because of the amount of pain I was in. And so for me, a lot of this stuff is like a blur. I really don't remember all of it. There's bits and pieces that I remember because of the amount of pain and the amount of medicine I was on. So I remember them telling me I had 10 liters of fluid in my stomach. And for you that don't know what 10 liters of fluid is, take a soda bottle and fill it up 5 times, and that's how much fluid I had in my stomach. And so then they got this doctor. I think the next day this doctor came and drained all the fluid out of my stomach, and I had like a hole in my side for a very long time that was leaking, and finally until everything leaked out and it finally closed up. But you know, that's later down in my story. I remember taking a lot of tests. From the stories I hear from my in-laws and my parents, I used to sit in the emergency room and just scream because I was in so much pain. I don't remember it, but they thought because of the amount of pain I was in an emergency room and the amount of pain I would tell people I was in, they never, not say believe me, but they thought I kind of just didn't want to go back to work. Only because if I was in that much pain, I would be in the emergency room. I wouldn't keep coming home every time. For me, I have a high pain tolerance. So, I mean, I'm sensitive emotional wise, but pain wise, I have a really high tolerance. Last night I actually decided that I wanted to get a tattoo of my baby girl's name, be my first tattoo. Don't know where yet, don't know what I want to look at, so I'm still going to take some time to decide what I want to do. I was admitted to the hospital. I was screaming. I was in so much pain. They was giving me so much medicine. They ended up transferring me to another hospital, which is the Virginia Commonwealth Hospital, VCU. Only because the hospital that I was at didn't really treat my type of cancer. I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is pretty much in my blood, and a little bit in my head, in my spine, and in my bone marrow, and in my bones. So I'm gonna use this beauty blender. It's wet, and then I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless to do my makeup. So got transferred to that hospital, and you guys, I was hallucinating so bad that when I got in the ambulance to be transferred to that hospital, I thought I was going to go have surgery. That's where I thought I was going. I didn't think I was getting transferred to another hospital. That's how bad it was. Got to VCU, and from the stories and everything, that I was told I had a PIC line, which you guys will just have to look up what a PIC line is because I can't really explain it. It's like a little, like you see people with the ones that go in their chest. I had one in my right arm. You can still see the scar. This is one scar and this is the second scar because I've had it removed and replaced from having an infection. So they put a PIC line in. From what my mom told me, is I was supposed to be in the ICU with tubes down my throat, in a medical induced coma because of the amount of pain that I was in, and how aggressive my cancer was. So I had stage 4 lymphoma. So it had gotten that bad. Mind you, cancer doctor told me didn't have cancer. Reading back over my papers and everything that I got from the hospitals, my platelets were low. They saw my platelets were low and said it could be due to cancer, and it still didn't treat it anyway. So emergency rooms suck. I have the Sephora, my Maybelline is in 375. I don't know if you guys can see that. And my concealer is from Sephora and it is in the color Truffle. I should have just went to VCU from the start, but I didn't know what it was, and plus the emergency room I was going to was right up the street. The only time I went to a different emergency room was when I changed because I wanted a second opinion, and I just went back to the place where I had my baby, and maybe they could figure out what was going on with me since I had my baby there, and it was pretty much after having my baby. Because my OBGYN was like, yeah, there's nothing I can do for you. I don't know what's going on. She had a specialist come into her office. She didn't charge me for it, but she had a specialist come in her office to look at me and to do a little bit of test on me. And at the time, I was feeling fine. So when she did the test, she didn't see anything, and that was what we discussed. But ended up being admitted anyway. Luckily, my stomach blew up the way it did. If not, I would have never found out I had cancer, or I could have completely lost my life because nobody knew what was going on. I usually do my foundation with this brush and then do my concealer with the beauty blender. I wanted to try something different. I don't know. So I arrived at the VCU hospital. I remember they said I was pulling my PIC line out of my arm. I woke up with gloves on my hand to keep me from doing so. I was cussing people out. I was calling my husband, telling him there were people in my room. I could hear them talking to me, but there was nobody in my room at all. At one point, they had told my husband to call all of my family. So at VCU, it's when I thought I had cancer at Memorial Regional. Didn't find out what type of cancer I had until I got to VCU. And I know this story's all over the place because I don't remember bits and pieces of it, so I'm trying to piece it together myself. And they told him to text all my family and told me because if I didn't respond to the treatment that I wasn't gonna make it through the next couple of days. Never ended up in the ICU. I woke up to so many people being in my room from his side of the family to some people on my side of the family. Most of his side of the family was there. And then my aunt came up there and she braided my hair because I had my hair in a ponytail for 2 weeks of going through all of this. I took it out and it was matted, and so I combed through it, and I had to comb through it, and then she came and she just put it in cornrows. So the first 2 weeks I wasn't allowed to see my daughter at all because they were afraid that she would, being so young and how she's more open to getting infections and everything, that she could give it to me. So my family was allowed to come up there, but she wasn't allowed in the room. So I would video chat with her, even though she was only 3 months. And that was the only way I really talked to her. Eventually, like 2 weeks later, I think maybe 3 weeks later, they finally allowed her to come in the room to see me. I had been, my legs were extremely huge because I was on so many steroids. So I couldn't get out of bed. Had to relearn how to walk again altogether because I had been in bed for so long. That standing up, when my legs finally, when they finally took me off the steroids and the fluid was slowly trying to come out of my legs, I'm using the e.l.f. eyeliner. I don't think I told you what I used to prime my eyelids. I used the NYX Proof It. I also had to get bathed in bed, so they would just bathe me on the covers that I was already on, and then move me and then change my covers. It was really not that weird, only because I had just had a very complicated, weird labor. I had to go through physical therapy in order to learn how to walk again, and also occupational therapy to be able to take my own showers and stuff on my own again. It took a while. Like every couple of days I was doing something better. Like I went from telling them I wanted to take my catheter out because I wanted to use the bathroom on my own, but the toilet was too low, so I ended up with the like little bedside commode, little thingy. And I'll list all the stuff that I'm using because it's hard to sit here and remember to tell you guys what I'm using and do my makeup in the first place. I stayed for 30 days. I got 2 chemo treatments while I was there, and my body responded well to both of them, so I was good. I couldn't take showers without being in pain. I would take a shower and then just feel like the weight of the world had just dropped on my shoulders. I felt like so hopeless, and there was days I just felt like I was gonna die. I missed the whole 3 months of my daughter's life, other than when she came and visited me. That's pretty much my story of having cancer. Now, I did continue to have chemo treatments about every 3 weeks after, so I did miss a great amount of my daughter's life by doing so. I had to go in for every 3 weeks, which was more like every 2 weeks. In the 3rd week, I would be having the chemo treatment. I am cancer free now. So I'm grateful and I'm happy, and only because I have to leave in 10 minutes. I'm about to do this blush. I have this e.l.f. blush palette in dark. And I just mix these 3 colors. This color is too light for me. And time to set the face. And so for my lip, I'm going to take the NYX color in Chestnut and line my lips with. But yeah, that was a really crazy experience. experience for me. I'm only 23 years old, so I never thought that was something that I would have to deal with. I met a friend, and her name is Simone. She has leukemia. I have lymphoma, and we bonded off of just both going through something at a very young age, and both having beautiful daughters, and just needing someone to talk to and understand what's going on. I did have to go to like doctor's appointments to get my blood levels looked at every week. Well, every other day. The chemo would bring down my platelets, my blood levels, and my platelets, blood level, and my immune system. So for a while I had a very low immune system, which I still do now. It's not fully built back up, but I'm out of the infection zone. I can't really get infections, but I can get infections, if that makes sense. Let's try this around. I'm feeling fancy. Like it.